Hey everybody, I'm Chris Fikes with Krāv, and this is Matt Gerdes with Squirrel, and we're here to give you guys another quick tip. This week's quick tip, we're going to be talking about breakoffs, right?
Yeah, breakoffs.
All right.
So the best part about wingsuit flying is flying in formation with your friends, and every formation wingsuit skydive ends with a breakoff. And breakoff is a really interesting part of the jump because we are excited from having done something really cool, we're already in a group, and we're ready to play, right? Like we've had a good time, the jump's over, the dive flow is complete, and the tendency, what everybody really wants to do at this point is a couple of two-way barrel rolls or carves or some docked back flying, something like that. And this is it feels like the best part of the jump to do that because here we are at the end of a really fun skydive and we're all together. But it's also kind of the worst time of the jump to do stuff like that because we're lower, so we have decreased altitude, and we're getting back closer to the drop zone where we have parachutes, usually tandems and students that are pulling higher than the rest of the load and are therefore more in our way as we're getting out last. So it's a bad time to have a bunch of fun, but it feels like a good time. So there's kind of two things that we need to think about during this part of the skydive. The first is that we need to have a good breakoff, a clean breakoff, and the second is that we need to not put other people on the drop zone at risk. So in order to do that, we are going to, first of all, just focus on the task at hand, which is a safe breakoff more than it is playtime, as hard as that might be. And secondly, we're going to follow the predetermined plan for breaking off. So if you're on the right side of the formation, it's pretty simple, you turn right. If you're in the middle or you're the lead, you continue straight along the line of flight or to the predetermined opening quadrant. And if you're on the left side, you break off to the left. Generally speaking, anywhere between 15 to 45 degrees is enough. The rule for sure is never more than 90. We never want to make more than a 90-degree turn during breakoff in any direction, no matter what. It's just not necessary. Making more than a 90 puts us at risk of coming into contact or interfering with not only other groups, but people that might be trailing behind or that arrived at the opening quadrant or location a little bit late. So 90 degrees max, usually 45 degrees is enough. And again, the direction that you're breaking off and the amount of turn that you're going to make should be predetermined and planned before you get on the aircraft.
Now, so whenever I break off, should I be, diving and generating some speed to get away from everybody? Should I be flaring? What should I be doing in that breakoff flight?
So, a lot of people really like the feeling of diving down away from the formation and then flaring up or decelerating to get the right airspeed for their deployment. And while that is fun and it feels like you're clearing yourself away from the group, it actually turns out to be dangerous and also a little bit stupid. So the dangerous part, actually, let's first of all talk about what happens when people do that and what you think you're doing and how that differs from what actually is going on. That process of diving down away from the formation and then flaring up turns out to be a little bit dangerous and a little bit stupid. The silly part is this. That person who dives away from the formation, feels like they've accelerated a great deal and pulled out in front, actually just went low. And when they flare up, where do they end up? Exactly where we're going to end up by flying at the same speed and angle that we have been during the rest of the jump. So you don't get out of the way. In fact, what you do is you get in the way. And secondly, the dumb part is that not only are they in the way, but they're going slow. They've created a really high closing speed by flaring up into us as we continue along our original glide path. So there's a lot going on there, but essentially, because that person doesn't have eyes in the back of their head, they don't realize that they're flaring right back into the group, and the people that are in the group aren't expecting that to happen, so it creates a pretty risky situation and something that we definitely want to avoid. So while it is fun and cool to dive and then flare for your deployment, you can't do it on formation jumps. And you need to maintain the same speed and angle that we have been flying during the entire jump, or at least during that last part of it on the home stretch back to our opening location, and have a gentle, relaxed deployment in the appropriate spot after making your breakoff turn.
So in breakoff, I need to, first of all, make sure that I'm following the prescribed breakoff pattern, right? If I'm on the outside, I need to be going where I'm supposed to go at a 45, no more than 90 degrees at the most.
Correct.
And then I should maintain speed and attitude or pitch, right? The same.
Yeah, we're taking it easy. The breakoff isn't a time to go crazy, dive, flare, do a bunch of carves and barrel rolls and stuff like that. It's a time on formation jumps to end up at the predetermined opening location, to pull away from the formation at the angle that was prescribed before we got on the aircraft and in the direction that you're supposed to. Right side goes right, left side goes left, etc. And to have a nice, easy deployment. It's not a time to dive and flare right back up in front of the group that you've been flying with on that jump.
Cool, awesome. Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So I hope this has been helpful for everybody. It's a really valuable piece of information. Hopefully going to keep a lot of us much safer. Help us recognize that some of the things maybe we've been doing in the past really is not a good idea, and we can kind of change our habits and maintain those safety procedures to the best of our ability. If you guys want to learn more about wingsuiting, we've got a great wingsuiting course that we've put together with Matt and Val Sobol and Dan Darby. Fantastic wingsuit pilots, a lot of fantastic, really good information in this course. We would love for you guys to come check it out. Go to the Krāv website. It's kravetofly.com. You can check out that course. We've got a lot of other courses covering different disciplines of skydiving, and I think it's going to be a blessing to you. You'll learn a lot of good stuff. You'll be a better flyer, a safer skydiver, and have more fun. Right?
Awesome. We'll see you up
Cool.
there.
Krāv, do more, be better.